Tonight, what I thought I would do is just kind of tag team off of what Tom did, but mine is more from a program I used to set up for kids. I know you may laugh once I tell you some of the wording and some of this stuff, but I just call it Rock Detective. And so since you're going to be out looking at karst and stuff like that, you might find some other cool rocks, okay? So first of all, I wanted to tell you difference between a rock and a mineral. And you guys know what the difference is at all? I mean, some of you might be geologists, I don't know. But a mineral, here I'll just read you the little geology thing. It's a non-living, solid, chemical compound, naturally occurring, atoms arranged in a definite pattern. Now, you could see how a child would really take hold of that, right? But basically, it can't be water, it can't be a cup, because that's not, it's not, a solid, and it's not naturally occurring. But a mineral, could be like quartz, okay, something like that. Okay, so a crystal would just be what a mineral is made of, a whole bunch of crystals. Like these are salt crystals. That's a picture I took. So that's salt with a SEM, scanning electron microscope. So a rock is just a bunch of minerals. So if I took feldspar and I took quartz and then I took biotite, which mine is kind of breaking, and then I were to mix these all together, I would make a rock. And you guys know what rock that would make? Granite, right. Don't take that for granted. So that would make granite, okay? I know, bad. Now, there are some little clues, like when you're out looking at rocks, I don't know, I've always liked looking at rocks since I was a little kid because they're just kind of fun. So you can taste them, you can touch them, you can smell them, you can hear them, you can see them, and then a lot of the other things you do with them have to do with sight. Now, most of you probably don't go around tasting things, okay? But I am the nature guy, right? So, so one thing you should keep in mind, don't be tasting reddish colored rocks like in New Mexico, because that usually means they contain mercury, like cinnabar or something like that, and you might get ill from that. But you might have some things that may look like they may look like this, or they may look like this, or they may look like this, and you're not sure which one is salt. So then you can just kind of go like that to all of them. The one that tastes salty is salt, right? So taste is one thing you can use. And I made, oh yeah, do y'all, here, wait. You want to try that one? So I have some mineral identification clues at some of the things you can look. Now, some of you are probably thinking, sound. When is the last time you heard a rock, okay, make a noise? But if you were to be in a place that had some contact metamorphosis where you had like basalt or something underneath and lava hitting and heating something up. This is from a mountain range. I grabbed these. And so if it sounds, they're just like this, and it's called blue jingle, and it actually sounds like pottery. So this would be from contact metamorphosis. And so this is actually baked mud, and it's called argillite. So some little fun things you can do. And of course, when you're a kid, the most fun thing to do is go around and try and see if you can find magnetite, anything magnetic like that. Then also, if this one I'll pass around. So you can touch rocks and see what they are. I'll leave it in the bag in case you choose not to stick your finger in the bag. But it's graphite, so it's actually going to feel kind of greasy. And the same would be true for talc. It's going to feel kind of a greasy feel to it. So you guys can just kind of pass that around. And you wanted the one that I licked, right? And then another one would be the way that the crystals are formed. So this is a dodecahedron, and so that means it's got 12 sides. So that would be garnet. So this would be, anybody born in January? Say this would be fantastic right there, right? So yeah, some are like that, and then I'll pass this one around because this one, I didn't lick these, okay? But I'll pass the whole thing around and you can look. But so one of the main rocks that we have here is calcium carbonate, okay? We know it as like all the limestone we see here. Now limestone, it looks, well, kind of like this, but ours isn't as sparkly as this. But calcite is made out of the same thing, calcium carbonate, but it can come in green, it can come in orange, it can come in blue and pink and red, a whole bunch of different colors, so you can't always go by color. So sometimes if you can, you go by crystal form, and let me try and get this out. Okay, this is the non-licked one, okay? So this actually looks like kind of a square, kind of pushed over and then tilted just a little bit. And so if you ever see anything break off like that, you know it's calcite, okay? So I'll just pass this around just like that. Another way to tell is by hardness. Now, everybody goes, well, all rocks are hard, you know. You get hit in the head with one, you know it's hard. But you can actually, so it's actually the ability to scratch another rock or to see, you know. So if I take talc, everything's going to scratch it, including your fingernail. And then they did like a chart. I tried to find some other way to do this, but in geology class last century, they always did tall girls can flirt and other queer things can develop. I mean, that's weird, probably sexist, outdated, whatever. So please come up with another thing for me, because I could never use that in an elementary school class anyway. But talc can get scratched by gypsum. Gypsum could get scratched by calcite, and then it goes up the line. So it's talc, gypsum, calcite, fluorite, apatite, which is basically used in fertilizer a lot. And then it's feldspar is 6, quartz is 7, 8 is topaz, 9 is corundum, and 10, somebody took my 10 out of here, it's a diamond, it's gone. So the diamond doesn't mean like you would never take a diamond and try and scratch something with it because it's brittle. So you could still break it, it just will scratch something else. So you know, you don't want to do that to your wife or your mom's ring or something. You'll get killed. Another little thing you can do is if you have pumice, it's one of the few rocks that float. You can get a glass of water, set it in there, and it'll float because of all the holes in it. Some, like if you're looking at diaphaneity, that's the word of the day today. If it's opaque, transparent, or translucent, so this is a rock that people used to use for windows a long time ago. So it's basically mica. It'll bend, and you can see through it. So it's kind of cool. How am I doing on time? Because I do not want to take away the man's time over there. Okay. Ooh, man, I'm smoking. Okay, so so if you look at this, I know when you see the word streak, you conjure up the 1970s, right? That is not what we're talking about here. Streak is actually, there's something called a streak plate, and what you would do is take a rock or a mineral and scratch it across this, and if that's all you did all your whole day, you would probably know. That would give you a clue as to what it was. Most of the things, if you were to take a gray rock and you streak it, you'd be like, it's going to come out gray. Some of them don't. They come out red. So then it'll help you, like in an Audubon's geology book, it'll tell you in there, streak is this, hardness is this. And it tells you all these things so that you can help identify what you found. So that's what streak is. See? Cleared that up, right? Cleavage is the other one that people seem to like their mind go somewhere else. So cleavage would be just like this. So salt crystals, they always cleave or break at 90-degree angles. Okay, so they will break almost always in a perfect square. The only reason these did not is because that salt got hit with moisture and it just kind of eroded some of it away. But those salt crystals will always be perfect squares, okay? Just like calcite crystals are always like this, and quartz crystals are always like this. They're always exactly 120-degree angles, six-sided, period. If you can't see the crystal, it's because you didn't have a microscope. Because some of them, like, let me see if I've got one. Some of them, you're not going to see the crystals. You're just going to see like a white rock. Well, actually like this, the one I showed you. You can't really see the individual crystals, but they're in there. Same with flint and chert, and that is a good one to actually use for smell. And I just grabbed these right outside here today. So, so just like your flint napping, I would pass it around, but this one's kind of sharp, and I'm afraid if somebody does that, a piece is going to go right in your eye. But if you just go like this and smell, it smells like gunpowder. So maybe I think of gunpowder because I got guns, but anyway, but it smells a lot like gunpowder. So you can always tell chert, flint, any of the cryptocrystalline quartzes by the smell. All right, and then of course the fun one is fool's gold, the beautiful colors, and you can, here's sulfur. This one you can also use in smell. However, in 5th grade in a chemistry experiment, one of my friends chopped this up and put it in paper and let it burn and said, hey, smell this. And like a dummy, I did. You can't breathe when you do that. So I'm glad that I got over that because now I'm breathing again. But it's very scary. So don't go smelling sulfur. If it's yellow, it's probably sulfur. Okay, my favorite one of all, though, is, out of all these, is I love to do the reaction to HCl, which I did not bring my little jar of acid and drop it on stuff, but, you know, you all know how that works. So if you take an acid and you put it on, you know, any of the limestone, anything calcium carbonate, it's going to bubble. So that's a good way to tell, like, if you're looking at this, and you're like, gosh, I can't remember, is this quartz or calcite? If you put some acid on this, then you're going to, then it'll bubble. And the same with like shells, anything that has calcium in it will effervesce in the presence of HCl. There, okay. But my favorite of all is the ultraviolet. And that one, what I like to do, now that we just turned the lights on, crap, now I want them off. And maybe if somebody's got a little tie with the big man out there, he can shut it all off. So when you're doing ultraviolet, there's short wave and long wave, okay? So long wave, I can shine at you and you're okay. It's not burning your retina out, okay? So this one I'm not going to shine at you, so I'm going to keep it down. Some rocks will fluoresce with both. Some will only do one, and that will usually be in guides too. And one of my favorites is one that I found myself. That makes it more fun. And so this is sometimes called Christmas tree rock. It just basically looks almost like granite, but it's not. And this one, hopefully it's dark enough in here to show you. But there we go. Okay, so the green is willemite. The dark stuff that doesn't change is franklinite, and then the pink is actually, it's laden with manganese that for whatever reason became ultraviolet. So that stuff right there, it's only found in like one location in New Jersey, so that was one of the most fun things I did in New Jersey, other than leave and come back to Texas. But there are a lot of cool things there, but this was one of them for sure, because these are only up there in this one location. And it's franklinite and willemite, and so they call it Christmas tree rock. I mean, that's what we tell all the kids, you know. But here's a whole bunch. I don't know if I can get some of these to. All right, so here's one that goes completely green. And this is all with shortwave ultraviolet. Let's see. Oh, that one might need long wave, yeah. So here's long wave ultraviolet, it turns purple. Now, let me see, I can do it easier this way. Okay, because this way I'm not blowing people's eyes out. So there, look, dumpy little rock, ooh, you know, and then you do that and it's like, so, and it just gives you clues as to what it is. Here's another one that is completely orange. And here, this is a really cool one. I think this one comes from Iceland. But so that's with long wave, and let me see what if it does with short wave. Say the long wave is way better on that one. I mean, it does fluoresce, but not the same. This one, Andersonite.
Did you find those by wandering around?
No, what I did is I went to a rock show. And I found them, you know, when they were in the case, and I went, "Ooh, that color! I love it. I want that." You know, yeah. Some of these places I haven't been. So this is calcite, also, just like in that other one. So it's kind of laden with manganese in the calcite. All right. Let me see my other one here. All right. These are. Oh, here's one. So that's with long wave, and let me see what short wave does. There we go. All right. Last one. All right. If you guys have any questions, I'm going to give up the floor to the next guy here. Oh, thank you. Yes. Is a whole bunch of minerals. So it could only be one mineral, like salt is halite, and it's called a rock, and it's called a mineral. So it's like all science, you know. They don't really know what they're talking about, right? So it happens. Well, you know, you make all these things up, and then it's like, well, you know, it's kind of like this, but not really.